So, good morning, everybody. My name is Noah. I am the presenter for the Shortcuts Classroom sessions in the US, and today we're going to be looking at the Cloud Appointment Book. And these are some of the basics. So, if you're new to Shortcuts or if you're new to this feature, then this is one of our latest and greatest features that we have for you, and that's the ability to access just about all of the functions from your point of sale on the cloud. So let's get started. So this webinar is going to be approximately 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. My microphone, of course, is on. We are recording, and we will be able to share a copy of this recording with our audience a little bit later today. So if you have to leave early, don't worry, we are recording the full session. And of course, hopefully you can hear me. Your speakers have to be on in order to hear this webinar. And we will allow some time at the very end in case you have some questions. You should have a chat box on the right side of the screen where you can ask questions or raise your hand. So just try to hold any questions until the end. So let's begin. So what exactly is the cloud? So today we're going to learn how to access the Cloud Appointment Book, the functions, the basic functions of the Cloud Appointment Book, how to access your reports in the cloud, and your summary report, which is known as the dashboard. So hopefully most of you have already been using shortcuts for a while and you're already familiar with the console, because the console was Shortcuts' first step towards online services. The console was historically reserved for setting up the rules, the instructions for your online booking. It was also the place that you would go to give your staff permission if you wanted them to be able to make appointments for themselves or to even make appointments for the rest of the staff. So the cloud has slowly been folded into a feature in the console. So hopefully you have your accounts for the console, you know what it is. Your username is usually an email address, and of course you've been given a password or you set your own password. So online, if you were to go to console.shortcutsoftware.com and log in, you should see a new button, a new feature, and it says Shortcuts Cloud. It's a little white tile. However, if you already know what your username, what your password is, you can bypass all of that and just go directly to the point of sale, the actual cloud website. And that's point of sale, pos.shortcutsoftware.com. So you can access the cloud from either screen, the original console or the point of sale screen. So once you're in the Cloud Appointment Book, what exactly does it do? What are the features of it? So whether you're on the computer, whether you're on a mobile device, it has all of the same functionality of your point of sale screen. So you can make appointments, you can access customer histories, you can move appointments around. So everything that you do mobile based on your phone, on your tablet, does synchronize to the actual Shortcuts point of sale system. So the only thing you need, of course, is an internet connection. Some salons that we work with, some spas that we work with, actually supplement their main point of sale computer by having a tablet that can move between the staff members on the floor. So if somebody needs to look up a history, a record, a color formula, they can just bring it up on the cloud rather than having to run back and forth to the computer. So of course, that's why it's super important to not only know how to access it, but to know the functions of it. So I mentioned a moment ago, it's cloud-based. Everything that you do on the actual cloud page will synchronize to your point of sale. So you can manage your records, and you can even have your staff use their own phones if they prefer. So it frees up, one of the main functions of the cloud is to free up your front desk, your point of sale. So everything they see, everything that they can do in the point of sale is now mobile based. And of course, updating customer records, updating customer histories. Again, that will synchronize back to your main point of sale. And of course, once the customer is in the chair, when they're working with their preferred stylist, if the stylist recommends they should be in 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever the case is, that stylist has the ability to go on the cloud and make any of those future appointments. So not only does it have the basic appointment book functionality that you would find in the point of sale system, so you can also start updating, start synchronizing some of the more advanced functions. So just remember, it's trying to free up your front desk. It's trying to give more control, more freedom for your staff. And one of the nice features of the cloud, aside from being able to manage customer records and make appointments, is the ability to synchronize into your inventory. So just some of the basics here. We are going to look at an actual cloud site so you can see how the appointments are made, how you can search up customer records. So again, to access the cloud, you want to either go directly to the point of sale site or the console site. You'll log in with your email as your username and whatever password you're using. And once we're logged in, so the main screen's been updated a little, and we can actually take a look at it in the actual cloud itself. So I was mentioning a moment ago that the cloud does synchronize with your inventory. So sometimes a stylist is recommending certain products. So unless the receptionist knows about this information, it's kind of hard to go back and forth. Perhaps they would write it on a ticket, and then the receptionist would know to add certain things when the customer is ready to check out. But with the ability to use the cloud for upsells, that staff member can use their phone or a tablet, and any recommendations they make, any products that they would suggest, can actually be added to the customer's cart before they're ready to check out. So once they go to the front desk, everything in this is in their cart, their services, any additional products, and of course their history notes have been updated, all while the customer is still in the chair. So this speeds up your front desk. It makes it a more seamless checkout process. So we're going to pause where we're at in the slideshow and go to an actual cloud page. Now, this is a site that's hasn't opened their front doors, so I have a little bit of flexibility here. But as you can see, the cloud appointment book is very comparable to the actual traditional point of sale appointment book. You see the names of the stylist, the business hours, and at the bottom of the screen, the ability to go forwards or backwards a day or a week at a time. And just as you would in the regular point of sale, whenever you click on an open block, Shortcuts will let you search for a customer or add a new customer. So I should have a test customer in here. Here we are. So this customer doesn't have future appointments, doesn't have any appointment notes, but down at the bottom, I can just follow these little arrows. Go to the next window. Is there a particular service that this customer would like? Perhaps a haircut. So I've selected Stylist 1. That's the service I want. Is there anything else? Should I set a tag for this customer? Is this a new client? New with a request? A requesting client or a salon regular? And then once I press done, that appointment is officially on my books. So similar to the Shortcuts point of sale, if I click on it, I get additional details about the appointment. So I still have the flexibility of making adjustments, changing my details, or press done here, or even moving the appointment around as I would normally do with my point of sale computer. So again, as long as you have an internet connection, as long as the employee has permission to access this, either from the console or in the cloud, they have all of the same functionality that they would in the point of sale. And at the very top of the screen, some additional features. So under menu, this is where you have some additional settings, especially your reports. We'll be talking about reports in just a little bit. But employees and schedules, who exactly has permission to access the cloud? So does Stylist 1 have any permissions? If not, at the bottom of the screen, I can press Roles and Login and then give this employee permission so that they can access the cloud and they can make appointments. So it's very easy to access your employees. It's very easy to give them permission so that they can then access the cloud. There we go. And there are no transactions today because, again, this is a location that I'm working with. They haven't opened their front doors, so there's nothing really to look at. So let's go back to our presentation. There we go. So we were talking about Cloud Upsell. And here's an example of what it looks like live. So the customer's in the chair, a stylist is working with them, and they decide to recommend a few products. So in the cloud, you can actually search for items and add an individual or multiples of that product, and it will synchronize and be available right at the point of sale. So in the operations tile, you would go to a point of sale, and you would have the ability to search for which customer you are upselling products for, or when the customer is ready to check out, select them. And when you go to checkout, you have the ability to press new and add on a service or a product. And again, this will synchronize and show up in the point of sale. So let's skip ahead a little bit. So with all that said, the ability to make appointments, move appointments, do basic client management, the ability to upsell products, you now also have the ability to access cloud reports. So all of the major reports and shortcuts with regards to the employee performance, your service sales, your retail sales, all of those key performance indicators that you would have for your business and your staff are available in the cloud reports. Not only that, we've created a number of very easy to read charts. Once you're in the reports and in what's called the dashboard, which is sort of a summary report. So if you're a single site or you just have two locations, you like to compare data, how you are performing from year to year, how your staff is doing in any particular category, then you'll want to absolutely know and use your cloud reports. So how do you get there? When you're in the cloud, you're going to go to menu and reports. So these are the big reports that you have: booking analysis, employee productivity, the dashboard, the most popular of all of the reports, the trading summary, employee performance, and targets. So the nice thing about these reports, again, they're all your KPI data, but the dashboard is a completely new type of report. It's sort of a hybrid. We took the elements of the trading summary, the employee performance reports, and the business performance reports, and we made a sort of snapshot that changes in real time depending on which day or which dates you select. So the dashboard is very powerful. And all of these reports that we have, you do have the ability to save them, to export them. So Let's take a look. So on these reports, booking analysis. For any of these reports, usually you can set a date range. Single day, several months. If you're a multi-site chain, you can actually compare multiple sites worth of information or decide to break it down to just individuals. You can even see how your online bookings are going compared to the appointments that you're making in the actual point of sale. Track your cancels, your no-shows, and of course your completed appointments, all from the cloud. So no more having to go to the actual salon to pull this data. Your employee productivity report. So this is where you get to compare their booked hours to their utilization percentage. So how many clients did they see? What were their retail conversions? Things like that. So again, you set the range that you want to explore. And you have the ability to search your data through one site or multiple sites. Not only that, the ability to filter all of this if you just want to focus on one or two particular employees, not necessarily your entire team. The trading summary. It's the gold standard of shortcuts reports. It is your snapshot of how exactly your business did that day. And similar to the trading summary in the point of sale, it's accurate up to that moment that you run the report. So if I were to run Tuesday's reports, it would be accurate as of everything that my business has done up to 9:20 this morning. Well, 9:20 Pacific. So you can run it at the end of the day, you can run it first thing in the morning, you can set your date range, and all of these numbers will be accurate up to that moment. And of course, you can print this report, you can export this report. And don't forget, you can also view it with or without tax. So the employee performance report is a little bit different. So this is your 5 KPIs for your staff: service, retail, totals, hours, and customer visits. If you press the little arrow on each reporting category, it will expand to give you a breakdown on those details. And of all of the reports that we've been looking at, you can pick and choose which reports the staff should have access to. And the security also limits them so that they only see their own totals, not necessarily the totals of the business or of their coworkers, unless you decide to give them a site manager level permission. So the dashboard, easily my favorite of the new reports. Again, it's this hybrid report, a combination of all the different reports, including the trading summary, in a very flexible, very dynamic screen. So it's exclusive to the cloud. You're not going to find the dashboard in the point of sale system. So it pulls your nets, your net tickets, your averages, your rebookings. And again, you can choose whether to filter it down to a single site or multiple sites as you're seeing this data. Now, I did have a question the other day from one of my customers that they noticed when they went to the dashboard, they started to see a little icon, a little character on the top right corner with an arrow pointing up or pointing down or just holding neutral. And they said, I never noticed that before. Is this new? And it's not necessarily new. The little arrow, the little icon that appears in the dashboard to show you how you're trending, appears after your business has been using it for a year. So it's actually comparing how is the business doing from year to year, and are you growing, are you shrinking in certain departments, or are you just holding steady from month to month, year to year? So of course, if you are not using the cloud, you absolutely want to start accessing it. You might have it, you might have never taken the time to use it. So if you have access to the Shortcuts console, you should absolutely be taking advantage of the cloud for making your appointments, the cloud for giving staff permission to make their own appointments or to free up the front desk, and synchronize a tablet so that you can have a tablet floating between your chairs. And of course, the ability to run your reports while you're at home. No more having to go to the salon, no more having to have your manager email you a report. All of the big numbers are available in the cloud. So hopefully you're using this, and if not, you're going to start using this. So you should now know how to access the cloud appointment book. Again, you can go directly from point of sale or the console online. Some of the basic functions of the cloud appointment book. We are going to talk about more advanced features of the cloud appointment book in next Tuesday's lesson. So if you want to learn how to set targets, how to give employees permissions, or even how to customize security permissions in the cloud, you'll probably want to attend next Tuesday's session. This is just a general overview. So you should know how to access those reports. And of course, my favorite part of it, the dashboard. So if you are using an older version of shortcuts, and believe it or not, 2 weeks ago, I was talking with a customer who was using a version of shortcuts that was approximately 8 years old. So they had been using shortcuts before even I was working here and a lot of the staff. And I advised them, well, there's a number of features that you could be taking advantage of if we were to get you to upgrade your shortcuts. So they had no idea that online booking was available, or that the cloud was available, or that reports were available. So absolutely, they were now ready to upgrade 8 years later. So hopefully your version of shortcuts is not that old if you're on a super old version, but you'll want to get upgraded and possibly get one of our tier packages to get upgraded so you can start taking advantage of these cloud features. And if you already have the cloud and you just want to start using more features, you can always sit in on my next session. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper. Either way, if you don't have these features, let our customer care team know. Give us a call, send us an email, and we'll get right back to you. So now we're opening up the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, on the right side of your screen, you should have a tile box which lets you ask questions. There should be both a question or a chat window. And on the right side, Bernie says he can't hear the speakers. Well, this is terrible. Can anybody else hear me? Because if not, I have to re-record this whole session. So now I'm going to reply. Okay. Oh, thank goodness. I was scared. So thankfully, Victoria, looks like Victoria could hear me. Okay. So I'm just going to let Bernie know that we are recording this session. So you should have audio when we send a link to everybody. So don't worry about that one, Bernie. And let me bring my question window out. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Sherry and Victoria can hear me. So sorry that there was an audio problem for you, Bernie. We are recording. But does anybody have a question on accessing the cloud or some of the functions of the cloud, like how to get to it, or if you're only familiar with the console, how to navigate to that? Does anybody have questions on that? And I'll give the attendees a moment. You're probably writing down notes right now. No. Raylene, Kathleen, you're okay? Okay, we have a question here. Does the hourly report show actual hours worked or just the appointment book hours? If so, is it rounding? So let's take a look. So we're going to jump out of the presentation for a second and into the cloud. And let's move this over. So were you thinking of the booking analysis report of Victoria for the booked hours, the working hours? And let me actually switch to another site because since 888 Salon has not opened its doors yet, there's not much to look at. So I'm going to look at one of the Sharky sites we're working with. Okay, and Victoria, to clarify the employee performance one. So let's take a look. And I believe Charlotte is one that I'm working with. Menu, reports, move this over, and employee performance. There we go. So in this case, it's actually going against the scheduled hours, not necessarily their clock in and clock out hours. And it would be averaging, I believe the rounding would be up if you're looking at average dollars over hour. Now, just so you know, this report would be slightly different than a performance report in the Shortcuts point of sale. Because when Shortcuts is calculating the time for either payroll or performance, there's actually a series of priorities that Shortcuts has. If a staff member is actually clocking in and clocking out, then that's going to be priority number one when you're looking at your reports in the Shortcuts point of sale. If an employee does not clock in and does not clock out, then instead it goes based on the employee schedule. Is the employee scheduled to work 30 hours this week, 40 hours this week? What's their hourly rate? In that case, it goes by that number. So if the employee doesn't do either, they're not clocking in, they don't have a schedule set, then it looks at what were the actual services that the employee performed from the time that the customer was in the appointment book to the time that they were checked out in point of sale. So that's usually the least accurate because that's only going to give the employee the barest minimum of what their productivity should be. So on the cloud, I wouldn't necessarily say that there is a better cloud report for actual hours. That report would still be in the point of sale because we need the staff members to still clock in and clock out to be absolutely correct about their time. Will that report show up in the cloud? Perhaps in the future. We are looking at expanding the cloud with additional reports. Does that answer your question, Victoria? Okay. So we are constantly working on updating our reports, but these are the big ones. It may seem like a small list, but these are absolutely the most essential for all your businesses. Okay, and I'll go through the questions. Does anybody else have a question regarding the cloud, accessing it, some basic functionality in here? And of course, like most things in Shortcuts, I can show you all day, but it's really best to get your hands on the actual point of sale, to start using the actual appointment book, to start digging through the dashboard and start looking at your numbers. So if there are no other questions, I'll just leave it as these graphs are growing. And again, you can see for the last week, this Sharkies was doing pretty good. Okay, so I'll pause recording here. So we will be sending out a copy of this a little bit later today. And if you want to learn some more advanced functionality of the cloud, I'm inviting you to next week's lesson, the Cloud Advanced class. And that's going to be the sequence for most of the next few months. 1 week or at least the first week, I'll be talking about a basic function in shortcuts. The following week, we'll be looking at an advanced function of that same portion. So thank you all for attending. Let's jump back to our PowerPoint. If you have a question after today's video, if you think of something after the fact, go ahead and reach out to us. You can catch us on our email, give us a call. You can even catch us on our social media. So if you go to Shortcuts USA on Facebook, you can even ask us questions there. So of course, thank you all for attending. Any questions? Let us know. We're always available for you. Thank you all for attending, and let me figure out, where did I move my control to? There it is. Okay. Everybody have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next session.